Welcome
Welcome,
back.
everybody.
Welcome back. We are very
Hello.
excited about today's show. We are joined by none other than Hussain Al-Bukhaiti, Yemeni journalist, political commentator, and lifelong observer of the conflicts on Yemen and regional politics. How are you tonight, sir? It is so great to have you on the show.
Ahlan wa sahlan, Hussein.
Ahlan wa sahlan. I'm so honored to be on your show and thank you for having me. And I'm fine. I'm great. Thank you.
Before we go further, I want to clarify something for our audience. Western media almost universally refers to Ansarallah as the Houthis. But as we know, Yemenis explain that the term can be reductive or even derogatory depending on how it's used. Can you explain to our viewers where the name Houthi comes from and why the movement calls itself Ansarallah and why that distinction matters?
The Houthi it comes from is the family name of leader Sayyid Hussain Al-Houthi, the founder of the movement. He was killed in the first war from the previous Saleh regime in 2004, and after that they call that movement the Houthis because they don't want to make it as a movement that represent all Yemenis or represent Islam or all Muslim as the Ansarullah, which was mentioned in Quran, this word Ansarullah, and they want just to focus that it's only like a family business, and that's why they are using the name Houthis.
So would you say that Houthis is inherently offensive in Yemen, or is the problem more about the way the term is used politically and by foreign media to portray Ansarallah as just a family or a tribe rather than the broader political and social movement?
It is not actually like an offensive, but it make it something small. That's the only thing. I mean, if somebody will tell me tell somebody you are a Houthi or that, I mean, it's fine. It's not that big deal in Yemen, but the international media and the Saudi, when they keep focusing in using it, it's just to make it a small, and they don't want it to be as a name like Ansarullah or like Hezbollah, because they saw what Hezbollah reach, and it's a good reputation. So that's why they are using that name.
You asked us, and I'm glad you asked us if we could start from earlier points in the conflict. Yemen is a cause that's been near and dear to our hearts here at DDG. We've been involved with humanitarian aid in Yemen since at least 2020. And even back in 2020, nobody really was talking about Yemen. So we're going to go through some of the history of this horrific conflict on Yemen and the blockade. So I want to go back to the very sort of the beginning of this. This is in Sana'a in April 2015, less than a month after the Saudi-led bombing campaign began. The target was the Faj al-Tan military complex, but the explosions and the secondary detonations devastated the surrounding civilian areas. Let's take a look.
وصلت محامي وصلت أقسم الله يصيبهم.
Take us back there to that moment, April 2015. The Yemenis saw something on this scale happening in their capital. Did people understand what they were entering and what this would become? And what do you remember about this strike in particular?
Yeah, I was near that area at my work in Fajatan, maybe about 500 meter away from that area. And when it happened, I mean, it was first we heard the explosion, and then the ground shook, like shakes, like an earthquake. And we didn't know what happened. I mean, the window were broken, part of the wall where I used to work was damaged. And when I went outside to the street, we saw rocks like everywhere, and shrapnels, and people were injured in the street, cars being destroyed, all the and the district that around near Attan, it's called Hadda, is one of the busiest area in Sana'a. And when that happened, they used, I believe, as they call it, mother of all bombs, the same one that has been dropped on Iran. And we know even the Zionist state of Israel doesn't have the fighter jet to take those bomb. It was the United States using this big I can't remember the name of it. So it was so it's not
or B2,
yeah, it was you've seen the explosion. It's not a like MK82 or those smaller bomb. So when that happened, of course, at that time we've seen that the Saudi backed forces or Saudi mercenary or the government that have fled from Sana'a and joined the Saudis, the Muslim Brotherhood and other parties. They were blaming Ansarallah because they say, why you are having, as they say, military base in the middle of the city. I mean, it's not the Ansarallah who have built that base. It's not them. I mean, the war just started 2 months, and those bases and military bases were across the city in Sana'a, in other area. Is the responsibility of the previous regime. But let me make it clear. Let's say that Ansarullah, they are a terrorist group. They took school children or women or elderly in a school or in a building. They took them hostage. Does that give you the right, as the police or as the Saudi, they say they are trying to implement international law and they respect the human right? Does that give you the right to bomb the entire building because that group entered that area? No. I mean, if we agree with them about that, Ansarullah are terrorist group, but they show you exactly that they don't care about the civilians. They came to save Sana'a people. They came to save Yemeni people. And one of the first and huge attack they have targeted that Attan building. Hundreds of civilians, near 1,000, were killed and injured. Hundreds of homes around that area were destroyed. And after that happened, there was maybe 500, 700 meters away. I took my car with a friend, and we went to the area near Attan. We saw bodies on the street. It looked like a battle zone. The dust, you can hardly like drive in that area. Building destroyed, broken windows, women and children crying on the street. I mean, they didn't know what hit them. So, and this actually was the first message at that time that Yemeni understand the amount of hatred that the Saudi have against Yemen. They don't hate Ansarullah, they hate the Yemeni. And I think after that attack of Attan, Yemeni has realized exactly as the Iranian people has realized when they have bombed the school when they killed in Iran 185 children between the age of 7 and 12, little girls. They killed them in that school. So that was one of the biggest mistake and the first mistake that the Saudi and the United States have done. And as well, it exposed the involvement of the United States. As I mentioned, no such fighter jet that the Saudi have, neither the Zionists that could take that bomb and drop it on Sana'a.
Next, I want to take a look at, well, by January 2016, the bombing campaign had been underway for almost 10 months. This next footage is from the Al-Noor Center for the Blind in Sana'a.
In Sana'a, they bomb it in the middle of the night, yeah.
Yes, let's take a look.
هذا المشهد كلنا ممكن نفهمه ونحس بشعورهم، لكن تخيلوا لو كان فيهم واحد أعمى كفيف البصر، كيف عيكون شعوره؟ متخيلين خوفه ورعبه مما بيحسه وعجزه عن الهروب؟ طيب لو كانوا 10 كفيفي البصر، طيب لو 112 كفيف؟ لحظة، سؤال، ليش هذا العدد تحديدا؟ وليش نتخيل أصلا؟ معقول أحد ممكن يستهدف مكفوفين؟ منطقيا لا، مش ممكن، وما بش لا أي تفسير إلا إنه عدو خبيث وعديم الإنسانية. بس لو أقول لكم إن السعودية استهدفت مركز تعليم وسكن المكفوفين في صنعاء عام 2016، وكان فيه 112 كفيف من الطلاب نايمين في غرفهم آمنين مطمنين، عايشين في سواد ما بيشوفوه طول حياتهم. وجا السعودي أضاف على
Tell us more about this attack.
Yeah.
You said it was in the night.
Yeah.
Thankfully, the bomb did not detonate. But tell us about that night.
It happened in the middle of the night in Sana'a, Central Sana'a, I believe in Taiz Street, Howlan Taiz Street, and that attack took place in the middle of the night. But of course, the first footage that you saw is a footage of the school on Iran when they bombed next to it, and that footage show you how those children were running and saying, "Just imagine if they were blind, how can they fled?" The scenes. I mean, there was 120 of those blind students, and that center was taking care of them, giving them education, and they were living in that center, and it's the only center in the entire country that take care of the blind people. And just imagine in the middle of the night when the bomb are dropped on their building. Just imagine someone who's blind, who doesn't know what happened, and he doesn't even know what's going on with the war, or maybe who's fighting who. And many were killed and injured because of that attack. And this actually shows the Saudis how they doesn't care about Yemeni life. And because that center as well, I mean, there was no military base or anything around it. It was just homes and centers and shops, nothing at all. And it was as well a busy area, similar to the one that near Attan, that they have dropped that bomb. And I think that it's not only that Saudi has bombed many schools. They have bombed hospitals. That they bombed 3 hospitals that belong to Doctor Without Border, the French agency. I don't know. I can't remember that name in English. Their name is in French. And even though that Doctor Without Border, they had announced, and they said that the Saudi have bombed 3 hospitals. It was in north of Saada, one in Haidan, and I believe, and one in Shada, and one in other area north of Saada, close to the Saudi border. So it was close to Saudi border, under their supervision. I mean, they know that no one could launch missile from that area. And even though Doctor Without Border have sent coordination of those hospitals to the Saudi, they have painted the roof of those hospitals, the 3 hospitals, with a white color, and they wrote on them the sign or the logo of Doctor Without Border, even though the Saudi has come and bombed that.
I also want to talk about how this campaign started under Obama. We know Obama as the drone master in chief, but it continued.
The Nobel Peace Prize winner. What? How silly is that?
The winner, correct. But I want people to realize that this war continued heavily under Trump and Biden all the same. There were no changes under the following administrations at all. But here's another attack. This one is from October 8th, 2016. This is one of the most famous attack that maybe some of our viewers might remember.
The Great Hall, I believe.
Great Hall Massacre.
Yeah.
So let's take a look. They said again, just like the Israeli. Oh, go ahead, Chris. Go ahead.
No, I was to say that I had the honor, and I don't know if it's in any way a badge of honor to say, but I was able to visit that site when we were in Sana'a. We went there with the group that we were with for the Palestine conference, and it was very sad to see the destruction. It was immense destruction, and it was clearly targeting civilians. There's no doubt. There was no military base around it. There was no military equipment around it. There was nothing that could have made it a military site. It was a purely civilian site, and they targeted it to kill, to maximize the deaths of Yemeni civilians.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, this is exactly what happened. It was they held in that area a funeral, and they announce it on Facebook, asking people to come. Like when you have someone in your family who died, you will send kind of invitation to tell everyone that we will hold it at that time in that area. I mean, who gonna use that as military site? And the crime of the Saudi, they have targeted that with double tap airstrike. This means they want to kill and maximum the killing, and they use this tactic, double tap or triple tap airstrike, in many areas. They want to make severe damage. I remember that day, I was gonna go to the funeral. Some of my friend has asked me to go with them. I mean, I didn't know I mean the person who died. I didn't know him in person, but we said like it's sometimes okay. It's good to go to show your condolences if you don't know him. But I remember that I had an interview in one channel about the war and things, so I didn't go there. When I was on the bus, people were saying and telling me, "Oh, reading they have targeted the funeral hall, the great hall in Sana'a." And he said, "No, I don't think so." I mean, I couldn't believe it was me, the one who know the news, the political commentator. And I said, "No, I don't think they will do such a thing." And it was clearly they did it. They killed more than killed and injured maybe 2,000 Yemeni. They all civilians. I mean, let's say even if Sayyid Abdul Malik al-Houthi is dead, you don't have the right to bomb and kill and injure thousands of people to get one person. This is actually the United States and the Zionists and Saudis. I mean, in all the war, they have been doing so. They have been trying to maximize the damage and what add insult to injury. That the Saudi-backed media here in Yemen, they were all saying that who launched the attack against that funeral hall, it was Ansarallah, and they said it was a misfired ballistic missile. I mean, we were hearing that the fighter jet on the sky of Sana'a, but because of the proof and the shrapnel that was left in that area, Saudi Arabia could not deny that, and because the UN United, I believe. Human Rights Watch Group and Amnesty International has visited that site. Saudi even they have sent some people to that area. When it was all chaos, to collect evidence like shrapnels and things like that, because they don't want it to be linked to them. Even though they have, when always when a bomb like strike from above, you have the metals. It goes in the way that the bombs go. They send some people to bend the metal in the opposite way, like to put them up. But the security, when they show them, because what they were saying after when they said is a missile that misfired, nobody believed them. They were saying that it was a car bomb, that the Houthi put a car underneath that funeral to destroy it, because there is some element and some officers or some people or sheikhs that the Houthi doesn't like. I mean, that's why they did that. I mean, there was it's so silly. Look, Saudi was trying to play with the evidence, and still, I mean, has the Saudi paid for that? Has Saudi taken responsibility? Has the United Nation or the United Security Council has condemned the Houthi of doing so? They have been condemning Yemen since we attacked the Zionists in the Red Sea, and we're trying to stop the genocide. We are trying to implement international law in the Red Sea by blocking the Zionist ships, because Zionists is committing a genocide. So this shows you the hypocrisy of the international community. That's why now Yemen actually they don't give a damn about what the United Nations or the UN Security Council will do. They will do whatever it takes, and what's in the interest of Yemeni people, they will do it.
By 2018, and like I said, we had finally had the honor in 2020 of starting to help with the humanitarian issues inside of Yemen. But by 2018, the war wasn't only killing Yemenis with bombs. Yemen was experiencing one of the worst humanitarian catastrophes in the world. 7 million children were going to bed hungry.
Man-made. The United Nations call it man-made. Yeah, by the Saudi, of course.
This is a video of from SBS News back in 2018 of some of the children of Yemen.
زهرة عمرها 7 أشهر من يوم مخلقها أو كلا نشلا لك أنت بحليب لك أنت إذا يوم حاجة ولما كل ما ناكل من أوراق الشجر نطبخها وناكل إحنا بنين.
الأسبوع الواحد نستقبل 17 حالة أقل تقدير. سوء تغذية حاد وخيم، لا متوسط عاد ولا عاد يعني في المستوى الطبيعي، حاد وخيم جدا العظم.
I also want to tell our listeners or viewers that even during that man-made famine and blockade, Yemenis were saying, give half of our food to Gaza. Give them food. So what can you tell us about the years of famine, how that's improved, if it's improved at all, and what people can do to help, if any?
I think the only thing that will help the Yemenis at this point, because Saudi between 2015 2022, before we had a truce with them, they failed military to bring Yemeni people to submission, or so they try to use the economy and the sanction and the blockade, the same exactly what the United States have done with Iraq, when they did as well with Libya, when they, I mean, they always do exactly the same thing. And the number of Yemeni civilians who died because of the economic situation and the starvation, it could exceed easily 300,000 Yemeni civilians. I mean, they die from many children from, as those photos show, severe malnutrition, from malnutrition, and as well from lack of medicine, lack of lack of vaccination, lack of food, lack of water. What the Saudi was doing before they try to enter an area, they try to destroy anything that represent that could them make them live there, like water pumps, markets, schools. Before they attack Hodeidah, they have destroyed thousands of fishing, this small fishing boat. Because when you lose your livelihood, when you lose your water, when your school is destroyed, what will you do? You will move from that area. That's why they want all the civilians. They want to make that area that no one can live in it, and they continue doing so. Just imagine, like outbreak of cholera, outbreak of malaria. I'm 43. I mean, I haven't ever heard in Yemen like this is an outbreak, or someone, especially the cholera. And the cholera, the best medicine for cholera and the easiest medicine is water. They need clean water. So just imagine if you cannot find clean water. I didn't hear of cholera in Yemen before. They were bombing the water tank, water station, pumping station, everything related to water. And then after that, was the spread of that illness in Yemen. And they continue doing so. It's not only they even target prisons. They target Al-Zaydiyah prison in Hodeidah. They target a prison in Saada, killing hundreds of prisoners. Just imagine someone in prison and you come to target him. I mean, how can you use a prison? As the Saudi claimed, it's like missile launch. They even target a prisoner of war center in Damar. And those prisoners, they were taken by Yemeni armed forces in east of Saada, in area called Kitaf, in an operation they call it Nasr min Allah. And when Yemeni were taking those hundreds of Saudi mercenary, Saudi was bombing them on the road. They killed hundreds of them. because they don't want the Yemeni, when they take them, they will film them and they will show how the Saudi has failed. Anyway, so they took those to that center in Damar, and the Saudi came and bombed it, even though the Red Cross have visited that center a few days ago or a few weeks ago. Just imagine, the Red Cross, they always, like, work by law. When they visit any area, they always, in a war zone, they always take the coordination and send it to the Saudi or to the other one who's bombing that area. And the result was hundreds of those prisoners of war that were killed by the Saudi themselves. They were hired by the Saudi to fight Yemenis, and they were killed by the Saudis when they were in that prison centers. They have bombed thousands of homes. They have bombed, as I mentioned, hospitals. They have bombed schools. They were bombing cars on the road. They have bombed all the bridges. All the bridges in Yemen has been bombed by the Saudi led coalition on Yemen, and Saudi United Arab Emirates led coalition in Yemen. Market across the country, they were bombed. There is a market, I believe, in Shada or in area in Saada. It was bombed that they were collecting pieces of the flesh. They couldn't find someone who's like, you can find the entire body. They were collecting them in sacks. Exactly what the Zionists are doing in Gaza. Exactly what now the United States have done and want to do in Iran. Look, because it's the same criminals. The Zionists and the United States is all behind that. So all their tools, like the Saudi and the United Arab Emirates, with the same weapon, they will do exactly the same. But even though, as you mentioned, Yemen has gone through all that, this actually was one of the reasons that we stood with Palestine. One of the reasons we stood with Palestine, because our country has been bombed, has been the starvation. We saw what's happening in Palestine. So we thought, look, when this was being done to Yemen, no one has stood with us. Only Hezbollah and Iran. They are the one who stood with us and tried to support Yemeni with all the mean that they can. So when we saw what's happening in Gaza, we were like in a dilemma. I mean, if we are not going to do anything for Gaza and for what's happening to Gaza, which has happened in Yemen, we should not expect anyone in the future to stand with Yemen. And I believe if we didn't so with Gaza, I believe that God will punish us, and he will not help us in any coming battle. That's why I believe we see all this victory, all this defeat for the Saudi. It started after our stand with Gaza. It's like, and what we did in as well in the Red Sea, it has showed the entire world that, a simple group like Ansarallah or Yemeni army, they can take up against one of the most powerful and most criminal regime on the planet, or maybe in history, the United States and the Zionists. And we took up arms, we stopped them, and we defeated them. This is actually in Iran is happening exactly the same. We have teach Iran that the Red Sea and that if you have the strait, you can close it, and United States can do nothing. The United States, what's funny, United States battleship, they were about that. Why they were so strong? Because no one dared to attack them. They target Iraq from Iraq neighbors. They target Iraq as well from the Persian Gulf. They target Libya from the Mediterranean Sea. They targeted Sudan when they launched the attack after that the U.S. destroyer was bombed in Yemen by Al-Qaeda. They targeted Sudan from the Red Sea during Clinton. So all the war that and as well Afghanistan, in all its war of the United States, what they do, they always try to contain the war and the damage of that war in the area that they are bombing. So they don't want, even though they are targeting that country from neighboring country, and as well, no one there at that time to target United States battleship. When Yemeni did so, those United States battleship and aircraft carrier, they become a liability. So they are not anymore their strength. The United States was trying, how do we protect them? If they target them, if one drone will reach, it will be like, the bad reputation for the United States. So this is exactly what Yemen has done. And I believe now that China is thinking to themselves, look, Taiwan, it will be an easy. I mean, it's not going to be that a big deal. So Yemen actually had teach the entire world that you can stand against the aggression and you can defend your country.
You know, I want to ask you a question, but I want to preface it by saying that I had the great honor of visiting sacred land in Yemen, of visiting you all in Sana'a. I was the last of the major international delegations to come to Sana'a in the March of 2025 for the Palestine conference, and I both flew in and flew out of Sana'a International Airport. Shortly after we left, the aggressors, the Zionists, the Americans, bombed the airport, destroyed every last airplane that they could get, and bombed the tarmac and everything like that, and basically imposed the air blockade. Sarah and I had the great honor of being in Iran when that air blockade was broken both times. First in the Yemeni delegation leaving Sana'a to come to Tehran, and then on the return, we were with the Yemeni delegation that stayed behind in Tehran for when the airplane went from Tehran to Sana'a and then diverted and landed in Hodeidah. So I want to ask you about, first of all, what does it mean to have an air blockade? Second, how has Yemen had this enormous achievement of breaking the blockade? And what does this show ultimately about Yemen and what's going to come in the future in terms of the airports that they have?
Yeah, I mean, it was actually when that first flight has come from Iran, it brought maybe 200 of Yemeni civilians who were stranded outside. Most of the Yemeni, when they leave the country, they don't go like on vacation. They only go out of the country when they seek medical help. Because I mean, it's a poor nation. I mean, they don't have the money. They are not like the Saudi or other Gulf nations. So 200 people, just they have been years outside, and many of them are students or sick, and they just imagine they cannot return to their country. I mean, Iran, when they done that, I mean, they did actually. We thank them for doing so, to send your plane, to send your as well the crew of that plane. They were so brave. Because at one point maybe the Saudi could have actually targeted that plane. I mean, if somebody have targeted a funeral hall, I mean, expect him to shoot down a plane. But the Saudi tried to send fighter jet, but Yemeni armed forces have launched air defense missile against those fighter jet, and Saudi like backed down. And they were as well thinking, if we do and shoot this plane, I mean, it will be a hell on them. So that's why they were a kind of a bit of cautious. But before they didn't give like they didn't care about anyone. When it landed, Saudi has released a statement saying that any violation of Yemeni airspace, it will be met by force, and we will stop it. We will help the legitimacy in Yemen. So at that time, they were part of in this war. I mean, in that statement. But as soon as we started attacking, they said no, we have nothing to do with what's happening in Yemen. So that plane when it landed, and then it took this delegation, and the Saudi, as you say, they stopped it by when it landed in Hodeidah by bombing Sana'a airport, and this was the first breach of ceasefire. The first breach when they violated Yemeni airspace, trying to stop the first one, and the second one was bombing that airfield, the port. The airport, sorry, and the Yemeni army has released a statement after the Saudi tried to stop the first plane. They said any action or any attack against Yemen by the Saudi, it doesn't matter where, it will be met by a major attack against the Saudi, either by land, by air, or by sea. Well, this is the first time they mentioned the sea. Just imagine what the Saudi have done against us in Yemen. We have never ever considered to strike any Saudi oil tanker or Saudi commercial ship, or we didn't. We only target a destroyer called Al Medina, and we target a military ship for the United Arab Emirates called Swift, which was given to United Arab Emirates by the United States. And as well, we seized another ship belonged to the United Arab Emirates that was taking weapons to Socotra from Saudi Arabia. So just imagine, we didn't use the sea. We were thinking, no, we are not going to use the sea or target any commercial ship. But the Saudi were using the sea
think he froze a bit. See if we can get him back. But yeah, that day when we were in Tehran, that was such a momentous. Oh my God, what a day that was.
Hello,
I think
can
we
you
were
hear
at
me?
lunch. Yes, we have you back. Go right ahead,
We
sir.
can hear you. You're back. You're back. Continue, please.
Yeah, yeah. I had inters now. It's fine. So like I said, we didn't target the sea, and they were using the sea to target us. But at this point, when the Saudi has bombed Sana'a airport, Yemeni has to take up the step. Even though they said if you target Sana'a, we Riyadh, still when they take the decision, what Yemeni did, they target Aba airport, south of Saudi Arabia, a small airport. You cannot, it should be in any war, they target your capital, you target their capital. Exactly your response in the same way. Still our leadership, I think they thought, look, we will do so. Like we were not gonna target Riyadh. After that, leader of Ansarallah, after what happened in Sana'a, he has announced in a speech that we will deal with the Saudi the exact way they deal with us, a blockade against a blockade, airport against airport. And he said that any like crazy move, like something like that, from the Saudi or of the dry to take and target Yemen, we will. And he announced that all their oil infrastructure, gas infrastructure, and all their vital infrastructure is a legitimate target for the Yemeni. And what he asked, he didn't think like that the Saudi cannot do. He said we want peace in Yemen because there was a huge pressure from the Yemeni population. They start to get angry at Ansarullah and at Yemeni army, because me as well, I was angry at them. I was saying we have took up against United States, we have took up against the Zionists, against the British, against the genocide in Gaza. We want to help the people in Gaza, and we should do now the same, and we should take up the step against the Saudi to help the Yemenis, and as well because of the situation, hundreds of thousands are dying because of the blockade more than the direct airstrike. When Sayyid Abdul Malik has announced that, and he said Saudi must lift the blockade against Yemen, let Sana'a airport to receive flight from wherever country want to come, and implement the agreement that was signed in 2023. And the main point in that agreement, it called the roadmap. I don't know why they always use roadmap in any conflict. It's something with yeah. The first thing is to lift the blockade. Of course, some people now could say, because they use this traffic app for marine radar thing, you can see that there are ships in Hodeidah port. But those ships that come to Hodeidah port, before they come to Hodeidah port, they are forced, and there's only few ships allowed. They are forced to go to Djibouti, and in Djibouti port, forced by the Saudi, they stayed there for months. And just imagine if you have goods there or food and stays for a month in there, some of them might go off, and it adds cost as well, because the cost of the ship waiting there for 4 months is added on the businessman who's importing that goods. And as well, Saudi is not allowing container ship to reach Hodeidah port. They are only allowing the bulk carriers, which carry grain and those stuff. Other ship that goes, no, they take them to Djibouti, the container, and then force them to go to Aden. Just as I spoke with one businessman, what's the difference between bringing a container ship from Hodeidah to Sana'a, if you compare it from Aden, which controlled by the Saudi, south of Yemen, to Sana'a, to bring a container ship from Hodeidah to Sana'a, it cost, as he said, 250,000 Yemeni riyal, about 400 to 500 dollars. But to bring it for Hodeidah from Aden, it will cost around $2,000, and this cost is added on the price of the good that Yemeni bring into the country. And Saudi is controlling 70% of Yemeni land. Sana'a government is controlling 30%, but 70% to 80% of the population is in this 30% that under the control of Sana'a. And they show you the need of Hodeidah port. And so and it was agreed in 2023, and as well that the Saudi should not all the revenue of Yemen in that agreement roadmap, the revenue, the gas and oil revenue which the Saudi is taking, and they are taking that revenue to Al Ahli Bank in Riyadh in Saudi Arabia. And this is with the Yemeni, the so-called legitimacy has admitted that, and some ministers have said that clearly. They said the money is going there, and then the Saudi is distributing that money. The salaries has been cut since Saudi has moved the central bank from Sana'a to toward Aden in 2018. When Ansarallah or them were in control between 2014 and 2018, they were paying the salaries. When the bank was in Sana'a and Ansarallah is in control, they were paying the salary of every single city, and they were paying for all infrastructure, and every single city used to get the money that it needed. Even cities and areas under the control of Al Qaeda in Shabwa, areas under the control of the Saudi, areas under the control of United Arab Emirates. Because here in Sana'a they decided we are not going to use this money is not for us, is not to use in our militaries, is to go to the Yemenis. And they did so as soon in 2018 when they have moved the bank by order from the United States, and the United States have said this in a meeting with Mohammed Abdul Salam, the head of negotiation team in Muscat. He met with the U.S. Ambassador who was in Yemen, and he told him clearly. He said, if you're not gonna back down or withdraw from Sana'a, we will move the central bank from Sana'a. We will make your money worthless. I mean, less than it will not be the cost of the paper that's printed on. And they didn't so, and they cut the salaries of 70% of public sector here in Sana'a. So all this has been adding up. It's not that we have decided now. We woke up in the morning. Oh, look, Saudi, we will attack it. No, it's from 2015. Saudi has been attacking us and destroying us, and they didn't even respect the truth. They didn't even respect the agreement. And as well, one of the paragraph in the agreement, a release of prisoners of war. Just imagine 1,000 prisoners, either from their side or from our side. It's sad that they stay, maybe some of them 10 years, either in our prison or there. But still, here in Sana'a, every now and then they release hundreds of prisoners as a sign of a goodwill. Saudi didn't do that. How can you negotiate with the Saudis if they still consider themselves as a mediator like the Omani? Has the Omani bombed Yemen? No. Have they done anything? And they want to do so. And they want to say that we are not involved in this war. But at the beginning, they say they came to the legitimacy, which they always cry out loud. I mean, I'm sure, do you remember President Hadi? He was the who fled Yemen and went to Saudi Arabia. Saudi have said that we came to in this coalition because President Hadi and the government of Yemen has requested us to form this coalition and to attack, as they say, to topple the Houthis who take, as they call them, who take power. Hadi in an interview, maybe in the third or the fourth year of the war, in an interview, he said, I was in south of Yemen in Al-Ghaida, is the capital of Al-Mahra. South of Yemen is close to the Omani border. He said, when I was there, I heard on TV that the Saudi started to attack Yemen. He said, nobody told us. Just imagine. And people, the thing that I'm saying now, people can search they can search in the internet. I mean, it's not something, we are not living in the Stone Age that I could lie and nobody can quote me lying. He said so. Jamal bin Omar, the envoy to Yemen, before the Saudi launched a war, there was a dialogue. And when that dialogue ended, Yemeni parties here met in Sana'a. He said we were about, maybe in a matter of hours, we were about to sign a deal, a great deal that will solve and have peace in Yemen, because like we were fighting each other. And he said, but it was the Saudi war that took us by surprise, and it have destroyed everything we done in the last 3 years. And people can search for Jamal bin Omar, what he said about this war. So just imagine, Saudi was saying that they are helping the dialogue in Yemen. They will, want Yemeni to meet. But what they did, they didn't ask to meet. As soon as Yemeni were about to agree and to sign, the Saudi has launched a war against Yemen. So, I mean, I want everyone who's watching to know that what's happening now is not about things that's happening, as they say, in Iran or things. It's about what Yemeni has been suffering.
Mhm.
I do want to show some footage. This is from during the preparations for Arba'in. A strike was hit, a strike on a Madif, and multiple casualties caused and multiple martyrs. Let's take a look. Oh, these attacks in Iraq were justified by Saudi Arabia as retaliation for drone attacks. It says originated from Iraqi territory by Iraqi resistance forces. These attacks the Yemenis took credit for these attacks multiple times on Saudi. What are your thoughts on this sort of attack on the preparations for Arba'in? And Chris, you chime in whenever. You were at Arba'in again this year.
Yeah. You're on mute, Hussein.
He's muted.
Hello?
There you go. There you
We
go.
hear you.
Go right
Can you hear
We're
me?
good.
Go ahead.
Yes, yes.
Okay. I don't know. I didn't touch the phone anyway. About this, this is actually with the Saudi. They are playing a really dangerous game when they strike Iraq. And it is, mainly is American, because I believe it was the Saudi, like by themselves, or the one who have decided they're not going to strike maybe the 20 areas and destroy many building and killing and injuring many. What the Saudi are doing actually, even though Yemen have said we are the one who done it, and they have warned the Saudi we will do it, and they did it because Saudi strike area in Al Jawf, and Yemeni have done that. Why the Saudi has gone toward and to target Iraq? This is a plan from the United States and the Zionists. They want to make that the chaos and the war that's created by the Zionists and the United States is not by the Yemeni, it's not by the Iranian. They wanted to make it as a sectarian violence, Shi'i against Sunni. And we've seen that clearly when the Saudi has formed this new coalition. They formed it from Sunni nations. So so the Saudi target Iraq because they know that Iraqi or the groups there in Iraq, Al-Hashd, will retaliate at one point. So the Saudi want to look like that. Look, all the Shi'is around us are targeting our country, a country of the holiest place, Mecca and Medina. We are under attack from Iran. We are from Shia in Iran. We are under attack from the Shia in Iraq. And we are under attack from Ansarallah, as they call them. They say they are Shi'i. We are not. So to make it as there is a huge attack against Mecca and Medina. They even blame Yemeni, and they said when we fire in missiles that we fire missiles against Mecca. Why will you strike Mecca? It will only backfire. This is the holiest place on earth. We want to take it from the Saudi. Why will we target it? It should be an area that's under the control of all Muslim nations, not only the Saudi, and they are using it sometimes to arrest people. And so the Saudi have targeted Iraq, and they formed now this coalition, Sunni coalition. And what's even strange, why the United States and UK did not enter that coalition? United States was crying out loud when they were forming the Prosperity Guardian and begging country to enter that Prosperity Guardian to protect the Red Sea. Why they didn't enter that? Because they do want to make it that a Christian nation is in that Sunni coalition. So what they will do, the Saudi, when they target Iraq, just imagine they have sent the Iraq Prime Minister, the Saudi, sent them a complaint, an official complaint about what happened. And the Prime Minister of Iraq, he promised the Saudi that he will investigate, and people who are responsible for that, if it was from the Iraqi, they will be punished. And he was about to visit Saudi the next day. So the Saudi were not happy. They thought that he's not going to respond in a good way. So what they did, they targeted him in the middle of the night. They could have waited till he arrived to Riyadh and, you know, criticize him or say you should do that. I mean, this is come from Iraq. Show him the evidence. The prime minister of a country, which you say someone attacking from there is coming to your country, you can show him the evidence. But they do want that. They didn't want in the media that an Iraqi president, a country that's considered as a Shi'i, mainly Shi'i, is meeting with the leader of a country that's Sunni. This actually will be like a good reputation for all Muslims that they are meeting. The the United States, and I believe the Zionists, they must tell the Saudi, no, this will be a bad propaganda for us. So they targeted Iraq and they formed that coalition. And I'm sure that they were planning to attack and to have a launch war after Iran, maybe against Yemen, and that war will be by the Saudi against Yemen. It will be a war like the Sunni coalition against the Shi'i in Yemen, and then we're gonna see that the United States will enter that war or support that war directly, indirectly, enter it officially. That coalition that the Saudi formed, just to say that we are the savior of the Sunnis, we are the savior of Mecca and Medina. Look, this Saudi is coming and is attacked by Ansarallah, by Yemen. I mean, that's why I ask you to show this footage and to speak with you about what's happening in Yemen since 2015. And as well, they will say, look, Iran is attacking. I mean, some people are so ignorant, because as I said, you are not in the Stone Age. You with a simple search, why Iran is targeting Saudi Arabia, it will show you all the bases inside Saudi Arabia, in Qatar, in Bahrain, in United Arab Emirates. They are around Iran. Those bases are used to target Iran. If the base is not used directly for fighter jet to target Iran, the airspace of Saudi Arabia is used. Fuel tank coming from Zionist State of Israel through Jordan, through Saudi Arabia airspace to the Persian Gulf, and then they refueling the fighter jet. If those planes, if the Saudi respect its country, respect the law, if they didn't allow anyone to use that airspace, at least their airspace, to attack another country, United States will not be able to launch a single airstrike using their fighter jet, because they need this fuel plane fighter, and this fuel plane help the fighter jet to stay on Iran 24/7 to target everything in Iran. So if you do so, if you throw a rock at your neighbor, you should expect that he will throw rock at you. But the Saudi think that people are stupid, can believe them. This is what I think. Like I said, when they target Iraq, is the main goal is to make it as a Sunni Shi'i war. And even though Yemeni has said it's us, and it's not the first time, we have targeted that area 2 or 3 times before. We have targeted the pipeline that connect the Saudi, the Persian Gulf with Yanbu. In north of Saudi Arabia is far more than those oil field that were targeted by Yemeni. We have targeted the Zionist State of Israel. So it doesn't mean that we didn't have the ability. But just imagine the Saudi, they wanted to target Iraq, because they think if Iraq will retaliate, they will retaliate in the same amount. And they didn't dare to target Yemen. And they know Yemen targeted them. Yemen have targeted Jazan. Yesterday, they have targeted Yanbu. Weeks ago, they have targeted as well Jazan refinery weeks ago. Saudi didn't dare to come and target Yemen. Why? Because they know if they launch any attack against Yemen, even it was Saudi, if they will target even the desert. I heard some of Ansarallah saying if they target the sand in the desert, we will retaliate against their oil infrastructure, because it is their backbone, and we will target them where it hurts. And this is exactly what Yemeni are doing, and this is exactly the blockade that Yemeni is forming against Saudi Arabia. They expand that blockade from south of the Red Sea to the north of the Red Sea. And I want to just, if we speak about, if you have a question about the relation, like, because people always say that what we do here is linked to Iran and all that stuff. I mean, I have a saying that it's okay to take advantage of the weakness of your enemy. This is something fine. So I believe that I'm thinking as a Yemeni here, as a Yemeni who will take advantage of my enemy. I wouldn't let him, like, get away with that. We saw that the Saudi, after the closure of the Persian Gulf, they were kind of happy because a barrel of oil used to cost $50, and after that it reached maybe between $100 and $150. Saudi moved all their oil production that they used to export through the Persian Gulf through pipeline from the Persian Gulf from East Saudi Arabia to the west to Yanbu, north of the Red Sea. So they were making money more than before the Iran. While Yemeni are suffering, while Yemeni are not enjoying, I mean, are not getting their oil and gas revenue. We see Saudi oil tanker going in front of our eyes in the Red Sea. What will you do? I mean, we will use that weakness of the Saudi, and we will thank God that the Hormuz Strait was closed, because now we have the upper hand. We can use that oil and we can stop it. But we didn't demand like the things that the Saudi cannot met. We ask for peace in Yemen, and I just wanna tell you one thing that to show you the good will of Ansarallah Houthi and the government here in Sana'a, that they have one of the in the agreement about paying the salaries, the roadmap. The Saudi insists that those salaries only will be paid based on list before 2014, so before Ansarullah has entered Sana'a, because they don't want anyone in that list like to be as they say Houthi or from Ansarullah, or Ansarullah to use that money. Ansarullah and here in Sana'a and our delegation has accepted that. They said, yeah, that's fine. So this means, just imagine, from 2014 or 15 till maybe a few months before Yemeni have taken that step, Yemeni still agreed that the salary will be paid only before 2014. So this means everyone who has been recruited in the public sector, and if it's like from Ansarullah, from anyone, he's not gonna get his salaries, because just the Saudi has suspicions that those people are loyal to Ansarullah. We said no, it's fine, because we need the salaries to be paid for all the Yemenis. They didn't do a thing, the Saudi, and now they were planning a major attack against Yemen from these bases, either from Marib, Hadramaut, or those area in Mocha, which has been struck today.
Can I ask you, Hussein? I just finished Arba'in, and Sarah and I were in Arba'in last year. Imam Hussein and Karbala occupy an enormous place in the political and religious landscape of the resistance across the region, including in Yemen. For a Western audience that may see Arba'in in simply maybe as religious terms, it's just a pilgrimage. Can you explain why attacking anywhere around the pilgrimage, and overall, I think even deeper, why the story and the life and the sacrifice of Imam Hussein and his family and companions carries such extraordinary historical, emotional, and political significance for people today?
You mean since the martyrdom of Imam Hussein, history has been repeated itself. The same criminals doing crimes like they did with the Imam Hussein, and the same resistance continue. Sometimes it might fail in one area, it will be succeeded in one area, but as long as you don't lose your faith, this is the only thing that people have. If you lose it, you lose everything. I mean, you could lose your house, you could lose your children, you could lose your life, but if you lose the idea, if you lose what you believe, we wouldn't have this fight. We could not stand against the Saudi. We could not stand against and it's really silly that the Saudi and the Zionists and the United States, they haven't learned. Even I mean, I think they could be the one that should learn from Imam Hussein. They should learn that if you assassinate or kill or do like our leader, it will not make a difference. We've seen what's happening in Lebanon. The latest attack that conducted by Lebanon with the small drones are weapons that Israeli haven't got a clue about it, even though they have assassinated Sayyid Hassan Nasrallah and many as well. When they have assassinated and killed Imam Ali Khamenei, what happened? This is all the story. This is the history and the bravery of Imam Al Hussein. I mean, we can see it now in front of our eyes. They assassinate Imam Ali Khamenei. What happened? Iran has become stronger because those attacks shows that what the Saudi want, the United States, they want to destroy Iran. It's not about their nuclear weapons and all those things. It's about fighting Iran. That's why Saudis and United States, they see those about Al-Arba'in and about Imam Hussein, they see it as a threat because it gathers Muslims from all around the world. I mean, and it's exactly as an example, it's exactly the same thing that happened in Mecca. But we see that Saudi are using Mecca and using the speech there in Mecca that you are not allowed to pray for Palestine. If somebody in Mecca with the flag of Palestine, he will be put in prison. The Imam there in Mecca, he never ask God to help the people in Gaza. They're using that actually just to spread violent in their speech. But if you see in Karbala or what Imam Hussein and Arba'in is totally actually the opposite. And as you said, when you went to Iraq, if you went to go there and say, I am Sunni, they said, yeah, why are you telling me? I mean, what do you want me to do? I mean, I mean, do I owe you something? I mean, so that's why the Saudi have struck Iraq. They know the Iraqi will retaliate, and they want to make it a sectarian violent, but a sectarian war. And I believe that they will fail totally. But after what happened in Yemen and in Iraq and attacking Gaza, it has exposed the Zionists. Nobody used to dare to speak about the Zionists or to write about them. Now, I mean, I don't talk about the leader of countries. I'm talking about the people who were taking millions, tens of millions across the world up the street against the Zionists. And I just want to add just one something is about different subject. During the attack, just 1 second. During the attack that we conducted, whenever we conduct attack against United Arab Emirates or United Arab Emirates backed forces in Yemen, the Saudi and the Saudi backed forces celebrate that because they disagree with each other, even though they are one coalition. When we target Saudi backed forces or Saudi, United Arab Emirates and their backed forces celebrate that. But when we target Israel, when we target the Red Sea and sink the Zionist ship, when we target that to help the Palestinians to stop the genocide, all of this group get angry at us and condemn us. This is the mentality that the Saudi, what type of people they are recruiting. So, I mean, show you. That's why I think Yemeni government here now, they took a stand. There is no more negotiation. Saudi take all our rights by force. We will take it all back, and Saudi will pay for every single dime, for every life, for every stone, for every tree, for every mountain they target, for every desert. They will pay it dearly, and Yemeni will make sure they do so. And if they are not gonna leave Yemen, now is about the liberation of Yemen. I don't think that it will be any more negotiation. If they are not gonna do so, we will burn the entire Saudi Arabia. But of course, Saudi will say Mecca and Medina. Everybody should know that Mecca and Medina, we respect them, and they are the holy place for us more than for the Saudi royal family. And I'm speaking about the Saudi royal family, not about the people of, as we call it, Al-Hijaz, Najd and Al-Hijaz.
You mentioned Mecca and Medina, and that you want Yemen will take it over. Yemen, I believe it was Sayyid Malik al-Houthi that said, we want a formal investigation into why the Kaaba curtain was given to Epstein and that relationship between MBS and Epstein. Can you speak on the blatant disrespect of, they're supposed to be the kind of the guardians and the keepers of Mecca and Medina, but they give the curtain to a child trafficker?
I'm sorry, I don't know, but my battery suddenly gone down. Is it okay if I use the speaker? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you fine. Go right ahead.
We can hear you.
All right, okay. All right then. Can you repeat your question? I was busy with with connecting.
I believe it was Syed Malik Al-Houthi that asked for a formal investigation into why the Kaaba curtain was given to Epstein. And you speak on the blatant disrespect. You just talked extensively about how much respect and reverence that you have for Mecca and Medina, but the guardians of Mecca and Medina are giving away the curtain to a known child trafficker and pedophile. Can you speak on that?
Yeah. I mean, if you see now, even though when Yemen was targeting Saudi Arabia during the war, they were targeting Yanbu, targeting Baqiq and Quraysh. I mean, they have never ever fired a missile close to Mecca and Medina. We've seen some Zionists from the United States and as well in Israel itself. We see them on Twitter or the social media. They were crying out loud and saying that you are targeting Mecca and Medina. Just imagine those people. They want to show the world that they care about Mecca and Medina more than us. I can tell you, if we fire a single shot against Mecca or Medina, it will be the end of us, and we know that. I mean, people here in Yemen, if Ansarallah Yemeni army will do so, myself, I will go fight Sayyid Abdul Malik himself. If he do so, it will be the end. But of course, and as you mentioned, just imagine who want to protect Saudi Arabia, who is involved in protecting Saudi Arabia is the United States. United States who has killed the humanity. It's not they are killing only Muslim, and the Zionist state of Israel. And those Epstein file, he had an island that belonged to the United States. I mean, I don't know how I can believe that someone will buy an island in Asia or in somewhere, but he owned that island, that Epstein, and he was bringing children, torturing children, molesting children, and it's something huge. Something huge, but they did cover all that up. We've seen in the latest leak about United Arab Emirates and their the connection with Epstein. They have took a piece of that I don't know what you put in on Mecca, the black what you call it? Yeah, they took a piece of that.
The cover over the curtain.
Yeah, the cover. Sorry, yeah, the cover. They took a piece of that. And they give it as a gift to Epstein. And that picture when that piece on the ground, it's like he's gonna use it as a mat or the thing that you put in front of your door to wipe your shoes.
Mm-hmm.
This is the Saudi, this is the United Arab Emirates, and they are the one now who saying that Yemeni is a Sunni Shi'i war, and they trying to spread that what about Mecca and Medina, and they're gonna say in the future that we are trying to target Mecca and Medina. Those Epstein criminals, you are ally with them against Yemen. Yemen who was ready to sacrifice everything to help the Palestinian people, and you are using those Zionists, and it's as well silly for country like Pakistan. And this is actually funny. I mean, when I talk about Pakistan, and I remember when they signed this agreement, I mean, it make me laugh. I mean, what Pakistan and Turkey gonna do? I mean, please, United States, the Zionist, the British, the Prosperity Guardian, the Saudi with all their money, the United Arab Emirates, one of the most richest country in the world. Saudi Arabia is number one in buying weapons from the United States, and the United Arab Emirates is second, like in the world. That coalition with the Prosperity Guardian, the US, Zionist, they couldn't stop Yemeni from blocking the Red Sea. They couldn't at all against the Zionists. What happened? Yemeni blocked the Red Sea in front of the United Kingdom and as well in front of the United States. Their battleship and as well their commercial ship, and they sank many. So this Epstein coalition couldn't do anything. So you think now Pakistan and Turkey will do something? We will sink your ship in the Red Sea. Simple as that. If Pakistan or Turkey will take any action against Yemen, it doesn't. I mean, it doesn't matter how significant, like, or small or something. Yemeni will directly stop their commercial ship in the Red Sea. They will target the ship, and we know that especially Turkey, they depend a lot on the Red Sea. And I can say that Yemeni have reached Israel, the Zionist state of Israel, with missiles. And when Yemeni use a missile, it's not the latest that they have. They always leave. There is every weapons Yemeni use in the recent battle. I know that for sure. They have 2 or 3 upgrade of that weapons. They always leave it because they know there is another battle. So just imagine, we target the Zionist state of Israel. Turkey is maybe 300 or 200 kilometers away. Yemeni, maybe at one point, if Turkey will go in a war against Yemen, they will target Turkey. But first, I believe they will block the Red Sea. This is exactly with Pakistan. But this actually is those government, Zionist government in Turkey and in Pakistan. What did they do when Gaza was under siege? 75,000 were killed, burned alive, buried alive. Many of them women and children. 180,000 civilians has been injured. Many of them have lost their limbs. They cannot walk, and many of them are children. What did they do? Pakistan and Turkey, they haven't done anything. Turkey has increased its export to the Zionist state of Israel during the war. They were benefiting from that war. Exactly what the Saudi were doing. They were benefiting from the war against Iran because the oil prices has gone up, and they have another road in Yambu and Red Sea to send their oils. Pakistan hasn't done anything, and I don't blame the people of Pakistan and Turkey. It's those government, those Zionist government. Pakistan, Imran Khan, as you know him, the former Prime Minister of Pakistan. He when he was in the opposition, and the Parliament of Pakistan has made a new law banning the government and the Pakistani army to get involved with the Saudi in the war against Yemen. I believe in 2018. I mean, I might be wrong with the date, but it's easy for anyone watching me to search for it. And Imran Khan did that because Saudi has requested from Pakistan to come and to bring troops to protect Saudi and to attack Yemen, as they did when they brought Sudanese, when they brought military from Sudan. Imran Khan, when he was in the opposition, has blocked that through the parliament. When he was the prime minister, he was invited to Saudi. The Saudi requested from him to do so, and he said, I'm not gonna get involved in a fighting between Muslims. I'm not gonna send my troops. And that's why Saudi were mad. And those Zionists who were in Pakistan, in the army, they were as well mad. The United States was mad. The Zionist state of Israel were mad. And I think this is one of the things, and Saudi was behind that he was put in prison, that Imran Khan was put in prison because he refused to do so. And we thanks him that he didn't allow that when he was the prime minister, as well before when he was in the opposition. Because the people in Turkey and the people in Pakistan, they should know, when you ally yourself with the Saudi, and this allies is against Yemen, this coalition or the pact is against Yemen. Yemen has been bombed by Israel. Yemen has been bombed by the UK, by the United States, by the Abystine evil criminals. Is the people of Pakistan wanna be a part of that? And I almost forgot one thing. When Saudi Arabia has requested from Pakistan to join, when Imran Khan was in the opposition, at that time Saudi media were like lying and saying that we are targeting Mecca. They used that at that time. They want to bring Pakistan, like to bring the Sunni and but Imran Khan, and I hope he will be freed soon from the prison, because he's a true leader. He's the one who's really represent the Pakistani people, and we do respect the Pakistani people, and we do respect the people of Turkey, but we do respect those two leadership in those two countries, those two Zionists. But I can as well say, I don't think that Pakistan maybe will do anything, and Turkey. It's just they want to have a piece of the cake. United States have taken tens of billions from Saudi Arabia, and they say we will protect you. They couldn't protect them from the missiles from Iran. So they said, look, we see that Mohammed bin Salman is like he's trying to make coalition. In every move, he's trying to make coalition. So they went to sign the deal to get money. I mean, good for them if they are not gonna interfere in Yemen. And to show you the weakness, I want to speak about Mohammed bin Salman. He is so weak that in any action against any country, he always tried to form a coalition. Even with Qatar, when they had the disagreement with Qatar, what he did, he formed a coalition from country like from United Arab Emirates. We say Japan. I mean, he's a coward, and he's trying now to do the same thing. But what comes if you see how things are changing? Saudi Arabia, the war from Saudi Arabia, they have targeted the Saudi have targeted Saada when Ansarallah rise up. Like, I mean, they started in Saada. Saudi Yemeni government has launched, our regime of Ali Abdullah Saleh has launched 6 wars against Saada between 2004 and 2010. In the first war, 2004, the leader of Ansarallah, Sayyid Hussain, he was killed. They took him a prisoner, and and they shot him and they killed him. They asked him to come out, and we will not do anything, and things like that. And they killed him. So they launched 6 wars. 100,000 of people were killed and injured. I think that many people didn't hear anything of that. Even though Ansarullah at that time, they haven't fired a single shot against the government. Only when they attacked them, they start to defend themselves. In the last war, the 6th war in 2010, Abdul Malik al-Houthi, he took when his brother was killed in 2001. In 2004 was the first war, and then come the second war and the third war. Abdul Malik al-Houthi, he took up the leadership in 2004 in the fourth war. In the last war, the war number 6 in 2010, what the Saudi did, they interfered in that war directly. They bombed Saada province like hell. They killed hundreds of Yemenis. They bombed hundreds of Yemeni civilians, women and children. They took a refuge under a bridge in Saada, and the Saudi has come and bombed them, killing 300. They fled from the village, they were bombing it, and they waited till they got under that bridge. It's a huge bridge in Saada, and they bombed them and they killed them. Nobody has heard of that. And all that because Ansarullah, the Houthi, say in their slogan, death to America, death to Israel. So the war, even from Saada, it was because of the United States and the Zionists. But what happened after that? Ansarullah has become and controlled almost all the country. They launched another war in 2015, form a blockade against Yemen, target Yemen, killing hundreds of thousands of civilians, destroy every single infrastructure in Yemen. What did happen? Did that affect the Yemeni? Has the Yemeni gone or rise up against Ansarullah or the government or blame them for what's happening? No, we are wise. We know who's our enemy. What's happening now? Now is Yemen who's forming blockade against Saudi, who's targeting Saudi, and Saudi is afraid to target Yemen with a single shot. Look the difference. Saudi, when they're having a blockade against us and bombing us, we used to retaliate. But now when we are bombing them, destroying their oil infrastructure, sinking their ship, and blocking the Red Sea, they don't dare to do any attack against Yemen. Because if they do, it will not be only the sea, it will not only be a few missiles. Yemen will launch 100 of missiles, 100 of drones, 100 of cruise missiles against all Saudi infrastructure. And maybe there will come another escalation. There might be a land invasion against Saudi Arabia. We still here in Sana'a and in Yemen and every Yemeni, we still considered what's called Saudi province. Najran and Jayzan and Asir is a Yemeni province. It was handed by the Imam a long time ago, many years, maybe in the 30s or 20s, to the Saudi because there was a war against our it's called the Imam in the 30s or the 20s, and he was advancing deep in areas under the control of Saudi. Then the British has come and they have bombed the hell out of Hodeidah. No one has heard of that. So they had an agreement that Imam and Yemeni forces will withdraw from Najran and Jayzan and Asir, and they will sign an agreement, and that the Saudi kind of will rent those areas and will pay Yemenis not paying them, like they will allow Yemeni to go inside Saudi Arabia, and Yemeni will be treated as Saudis. There was like kind of agreement. And why Imam did this agreement? It's because the British were about to enter Hodeidah, and they bombed Hodeidah really badly, killed hundreds, if not thousands, of Yemeni civilians. And that agreement, it was look like the Imam was saying to himself, that was, I believe, we are now, we maybe cannot do anything. That agreement is still anyone who will come and will have the power to take up the Saudi, he can get our land back. So Yemeni might do so. And if Yemeni army will enter Najran and Jizan and Asir, I can make it tell you, like, I'm sure that they will not withdraw. So the Saudi should be really, really careful with what they do with Yemen. They shouldn't believe that the United States will protect them. Look at what they haven't done with Iran. They couldn't even protect them. And what's funny, United States bases, which was built by the Saudi or Qataris by their money in the region, all the weapons there is made by those Gulf regime or monarchy or kingdoms. When they came under attack, they couldn't neither protect those countries, those bases, the American bases. They couldn't protect themselves. The Saudi and the Qatari and Bahrain and Kuwait and United Arab Emirates, they even use their battery missile to defend those bases. So, sorry. So they should know. I mean, Sayyid Abdul Malik, many years ago, leader of Ansarallah, have advised the Saudi. He said you should stop taking orders from United States. You should, like, stand up for yourself. I mean, he didn't say take an action or have a war with the United States. And he said you should do so. You should, like, focus on Muslim. You should help Muslim. You should be with us. And Sayyid Abdul Malik have said, if United States or any country will try to launch attack against you, this was like if Saudi were bombing us. He said so. We will defend Saudi Arabia. We should focus on our one and the only enemy. It's not only our enemy, it's the enemy of humanity. It's the Zionist state of Israel, and is the United States. But the Saudi did not take his advice, as they didn't take his warning when he said that we will bomb. Have targeted those backed forces here in Yemen, because Saudi Arabia, since the start of Yemeni involvement in defending Gaza, Saudi Arabia has been building up those bases and getting ready to attack Yemen, because the Zionists and the United States want them to do so, and they were doing so. Do you know that during the attack in the Red Sea against Gaza, United States through mediator Saudi Arabia and Yemeni government, or as they call them Ansarallah, they have asked them that.
No. Did I lose both of you? So there you are.
No, I'm here. I'm here. If we have a connection issue here, let's see if he's coming in.
Hello.
There we go. All good. You mentioned talked extensively about the pact, the trilateral pact between Saudi, Pakistan, and Turkey. And here's the Yemeni's response.
What I was saying, that the United States, through mediator, they have asked. They have asked through delegation Yemeni army to stop attacking Zionist ships in the Red Sea, and they say in return Yemeni will have peace. And I'm quoting them. They say that's exactly. So just imagine, this means that Saudi and United States, they can have peace in Yemen if they want. They do want to do so. That's why Yemeni at the end, they take up arm, and they said we will do it by force, and they targeted those military bases that United Arab Emirates has been building. Just imagine the area that was targeted today, airport. United Arab Emirates has built 2 airports in that area. One airport near the sea, civilian airport, and maybe 20 kilometers, I don't know, from it, they have built a huge military airport, like with everything. Something that those huge and large fuel plane and fighter jet could land. So they built 2 airports there. They built an airport in Zugar Island in the Red Sea. They have built an airport in Mune Island in the center of the Bab al Mandab. They have built another airport in Socotra. They have built island. They have built another airport, sorry, in Abdukori Island near Socotra. So just imagine they built dozens of sorry, I mean airports, is not port, airports. They built dozens. What does the United Arab Emirates need those airport for? They want to occupy Yemen. They want to bring the United States troops, United States bases, the Zionist bases into the entire region of the Red Sea. They want to control it because they know that if there is any war against China, at one point, the United States know that regarding Taiwan, they want to have control of the Red Sea. They do want someone, but I believe me, I think if there is a war will be launched against China, I think Yemeni will stand with them. Yemeni will stand with any country that come under aggression. It doesn't matter, is it a Muslim or is it a Christian country or anything? Because I mean, to be honest, we find something like brilliant is the Red Sea. I mean, we never knew how important it is. Even now in the future, if we will liberate our country, if we liberate our country and we kick out the Saudi and all the mercenary and United Arab Emirates, I believe that the Red Sea will be used against any country that will take any action against Yemen or anything. I mean, this is something, I mean, it was the United States who has been using the blockade and the sanction against Iraq, against Iran, against they are using it against the people of Gaza, against Cuba, against Venezuela. Venezuela hasn't done anything to the United States. And they have a blockade now against Cuba. It's the second blockade. That blockade, the first one was in the 60s. I mean, the people are dying in hospitals because there is no electricity. And Trump is bragging about it. He's bragging about it. Just imagine they are doing so. But when Yemen is doing blockade to stop a genocide, the international community and those hypocrites are crying out loud. There is a warrant against Netanyahu from the international court. What the United States have done, they have imposed sanction against the international court. International court, criminal international, that the United States has formed. So I mean, people should wake up and they should rise up against the United States. And I believe any country that have a coastal line, if they have any issue against the United States or any major countries, they could just do exactly what we are doing. And it's not because that Iran maybe ordered us to do so. As I told you, we're taking advantage of the situation. We took advantage that the Saudi is now using the Red Sea. We could have targeted the Saudi and burn all their oil infrastructure, but we said, let's take it easy, step by step. Yeah, if you have more questions.
No, I think it was your brother that said, Alhamdulillah, our enemies are so stupid. He said it in an interview one time.
Oh yeah. And as well, there's as well something funny that when the United States sent their Prosperity Guardian and their battleship, I was with some friend and we were talking about that the United States are bringing their troops. And someone was saying like, oh, I mean, what we gonna do? Look, you know, you see about the United States battleship in Discovery Channel, in I don't know, in this media, and they show you there's thousands of people there, and it's like this is no one can do anything. I said simply, I said, oh, it's good that they are bringing their battleship. They say, someone say why? I said we do have missile that could reach United States, so they brought the target closer to us. This is great. How can we hurt them? They could just come and bomb us, and we can't do anything. Well, what will we do? We will bomb Somalia? No, we need targets to retaliate. So thank you, Mr. Trump and Mr. Biden, that you did so. And thanks to all that, we have exposed all this battleship, and it has become a liability actually for the United States.
And you talked about the pact. This is the Yemenis' response to this. Came less than 48 hours after the signing of the trilateral pact. Was this a message? Are you guys testing the pact? Do you expect a response? I don't even know that Saudi has responded to this attack on Jazan. What can you tell us about it?
For example, the attack on Jazan, it has come because the Saudis has violated the Yemeni airspace, and they have sent some drones on areas north of Sa'da and Hajjah, north of Yemen. I mean, they didn't bomb Yemen. I could say that. But look, we come to a point. If, as I said before, if the Saudi violate our airspace, we will retaliate. We are not going to deal with the Saudi as we did before. We were so kind to the Saudis. We have waited. So the attack on Jazan, it came because of this violation of Saudi Yemeni airspace, and as well in some area in Yemen where the Saudi-backed forces, they kept firing artillery shells against some areas where Yemeni army is located. But what's funny, those Saudi-backed forces, they have been bragging out loud. If before we launched those attack against them, either in Marib or Hadramaut or today in Mocha. They bragging out loud in the media, and as well Saudi media itself. They were showing footage and they saying we took Al-Bayda province. Is in central Yemen, is under the control of Sana'a government. And they are as well showing videos and old videos when they were in control, when they were south of Hudaydah. They were close to enter Hudaydah, and they cut the road between Hudaydah and Sana'a. Before the major attack from the Saudi back, and they used this video and they said we have cut the road now between Sana'a and Hudaydah. We have gained this area, and those all actually were lies. But now, I mean, I can say our retaliation is because you said you did so. It's you who lied. But actually, this attack is not because of that. It's because that the Saudi has been building up those bases since we start in Gaza. And the attack on Gaza, Saudi United Arab Emirates has expanded their military activity in Yemen by order from the United States and the Zionist State of Israel. Because for Israel, they see us now as a nightmare. Israel cannot enjoy living as they used to do before, because now Ansarallah and Yemeni army are in control of the Red Sea. Exactly after we formed the blockade against Saudi Arabia, they've been sending military equipment, hundreds of trucks to Marib, to Hadramaut, and Marib. Why Yemeni have struck Marib first? Because Marib is the closest area, and Al-Jawf to Sana'a. So they were building largest, and as well, Marib and Al-Jawf and Hadramaut is close to the Saudi border. So Saudi, they were building up and concentration and new camp, bringing tens of thousands of fighters. And many of those fighters are extremists, Al-Qaeda, ISIS. Saudi Arabia has cancelled the so-called legitimacy army. They have cancelled it, and they made it a totally new troop. They call it Yemen Shield. So what's the point of doing so? They brought people who are loyal to Saudi Arabia, have the same mentality, have the same belief, have the same sickness, like abstinence sickness. Like somebody will do whatever you want to do from him. So our leadership here, they thought, if we're gonna stay silent against that, and if your enemy is collecting his card, like when you play card, you are collecting the card that you want. When you see you have like a full hand of card which you can strike your enemy, if doing so, this means, you might hit us bad. So what Yemeni did, they said the best way to defend yourself is to attack. And this is exactly what they did. And they only did it after Saudi violated Yemen airspace, after Saudi struck Sana'a airport, struck Hudaydah port, and as well they built in those armies. So they did that. And as well in Mocha as well, one of the most important base and army base for the United Arab Emirates and the Saudis. Of course, is now kind of under the control. It's under the control of the Saudi, but still, the fighter there and the leader in that area, or the commander, he's the cousin of former President Ali Abdullah Saleh. He's loyal to United Arab Emirates and he's loyal to the Saudi, but his loyalty to the Saudi because he's afraid if he will not do so, I mean, that they might kick him out. Anyway, that base, just imagine, they have 2 airports there. The port, they have all types of weapons. One of the most advanced armored vehicles is all US, I mean, new type, the latest in the market. Just imagine, the United States, they have a law, it's called the last user. That law is when a country buy a weapons from the United States, they have to sign that agreement called the last user, which they guarantee that these weapons, we will not hand it to anyone. It will stay with us till it perish, because they don't want you buy a weapon from the United States and then go give it to China. I mean, it will expose all its secret. So United Arab Emirates and any country buy weapons from that. They signed this so-called the last agreement. The last user is only us will use that weapons. Just imagine they have handed all those type of weapons to those troops. Some of them ISIS, Al Qaeda, or whatever you call them. They did respect that agreement, and they were planning to launch an attack against Yemen, and all the area that has been struck is military bases. And what's funny and what's silly, that the Saudi media and international media, they are crying out loud saying that we target the port, especially Al Jazeera TV. I'm talking now about the Arabic channel. I mean, the English channel, they okay. But what they are saying that we target the port. If you look, Al Jazeera and Qatar, when they had this agreement with the United Arab Emirates, they were requesting footage from a satellite company to show the build-up of the army base of the United Arab Emirates inside the port. And they were saying that United Arab Emirates has turned the entire port into the largest military base in Yemen. This is Al Jazeera, this is the Qatari. So when Yemeni target those bases, Saudi, especially after what's happening in Syria, when the terrorists took control, what they saying is a port. That's why, I mean, it's easy for everyone to search for the right information. It's something simple. So they struck that area, and as well another area in Bab al-Mandab, because United Arab Emirates thought by controlling Saudi that area, they will control the Red Sea. But let me make it clear. Even if at one point the United States or this Abstin coalition, which is formed from Turkey, from Saudi Arabia, from Pakistan, or other country in the region, the United States, the entire Europe, if they come to Yemen and let's say they control the Red Sea and they control the coast of Yemen, they will not be able to control the mountains. And most of the missiles and drones are shot toward the Red Sea. They are not shot from the coast. Most of them is shot from the mountains, from area inside Yemen. Why Yemeni army are doing so? Because Saudi-backed forces, United Arab Emirates-backed forces, and the legitimate government, they used to say a few years ago, during the Gaza and the war in the Red Sea against the Zionists, they used to tell the United States that if you control the sea and the coast, you will protect the Red Sea. What Yemeni army has done, they target more ships in the Arabian Sea and in the Gulf of Aden than they did in the Red Sea. Why they did so? They want to show everyone, look, we are about 500 kilometers away from the coast in the Gulf of Aden. Maybe 800 kilometers away from Qatar Island. We target a ship near Qatar Island. It showed them that don't believe those liars, the Saudi-backed forces, that if you control the coast, that you will stop our attack against any ship that is using the Red Sea as a military base to target Yemen. And I think this latest attack against those backed forces inside Yemen, it's a huge blow to the Saudi. It's a huge blow to the plan in the region. The plan from the United States and the Zion, the Saudi and those Abstin coalition, because if you control Yemen, if you control the Red Sea, you will be able to use that against China, against Russia, against any country, against Iran, against any country who will disagree with you. I mean, of course, now we are using that, but we are using in something good. We use it to stop the genocide. We use it to stop the blockade and the killing and the blockade against Yemeni. And we have the right to do so. According to international law, you have the right to seize and to search and to attack any ship. It doesn't matter what. If you believe it's aiding the enemy or is bringing military to the enemy, if it's a civilian, a commercial ship, you have the right to search. If you call a ship and tell them stop, we want to search, stop, we have the right by international national law to sink that ship. Just imagine if that Red Sea is used against attack against Yemen, is used as a base against Yemen. Do they want us to stay silent? No. I mean, we have the truce for 4 years. You haven't done a thing for the Yemeni. So that's why the Yemen actually is the balance. Is the balance. If the Saudi and United Arab Emirates and the Zionists and then will succeed in Yemen and defeating the Yemeni army, I believe that the entire region will collapse in favor of the United States. But I'm sure and I believe that this actually is not gonna happen, because we've seen what the United States have tried to do to help the Zionists, and they couldn't actually do anything to stop Yemeni from blocking the Red Sea against the Zionists.
Just before we let you go, I think we've kept you a long time. I just want to ask some questions about cultural, so just for people to know more about Yemen and the Yemeni people. So firstly, I want to talk about our awesome Jummah gatherings that we get once a week. Here's some footage of one from, I believe this is from July.
Yeah, I mean that it was the latest, one of the biggest gathering. It came after the speech.
Tell us about these gatherings. They're enormous. They are so cool. They're just such a wonderful show of strength and solidarity. And the fact that every week there are flags of the countries around the world that are fighting against Western imperialism. What can you tell our viewers about the Friday gatherings?
Yeah, I mean, Yemen start this Friday gathering during the genocide in Gaza. On every Friday, they have that gathering, and on every Thursday, Al-Houthi regarding the attack and the genocide that's done by the Zionists. And actually, those gatherings, they used to bring people like together. And when you go, I mean, you know, when you go to a gathering, I don't know, it make you feel good, and because it make as well the Yemeni people feel, even the civilians, that they are taking part in defending Palestine. If it's only launching missiles, launching drone attack, and launching all that, and then you see that the Zionists will bomb us, and everybody like will see, oh, they bomb our airport, they bomb our port, there is no more oil. People will start thinking about their livelihood. Because if you, it's like when you keep a fighter in his home, he will not be the same. If you leave him for 2 years without a fight, maybe you bring him back to the fight, maybe he will not fight as he used to be. So this was one of the things, like to get the people involved. to make everybody in Yemen, every civilian, every child, every woman watching the TV, seeing the picture of her husband when he posted in Twitter or in Facebook, her children with her husband. So it shows, make them feel that you are taking part in defending Palestine. You are taking part in a great battle. Every simple thing you do, it will help. Even chanting in those Friday gathering will help, and we need to help ourselves first. We need to help us to care about others. This was as well one of the main the main goal of that gathering. And this footage that you show from that gathering is was a few weeks ago after the speech of Sayyid Abdul Malik, when he said and warned the Saudis that we will form a blockade. I mean, what's good about us, well, our leadership, like Sayyid Abdul Malik, they always warn the Saudi before any action. Saudi Arabia launched a war against Yemen. They didn't even tell the president, which they said he requested that war. Yemeni always warn the Saudi and show you that, I mean, they don't want to make any mistake. They said maybe the Saudi will listen to us this time. So that gathering came after that speech, and it was one of the largest gathering that I have been to. I was there. I went there, and I was live with the RT International Russian Today English, and they were chanting, the people there. They were chanting, "No more truce. We should fight the aggression. We should take our rights." And they were demanding from our leadership to stop being nice. Simple, to stop being nice toward the Saudi. This was the message, and the people in Yemen celebrate. I mean, I was so happy when Saudi has bombed the runway in Sana'a. Because
so happy.
of course, some people will say, why are you happy of bombing your airport? No, I'm happy because Saudi have done a mistake. Because I know that our leadership, they are so kind. They only will retaliate when the Saudi will do a mistake. And so, and we know now what's happening to the Saudi. So people there will have demand the Yemeni armed forces to attack and to keep attacking and to take our right. But still, if Saudi want peace, they will have peace. But believe me, our demand 3 weeks ago is not the same demand now. Before, it was about the oil and gas revenue, and this is important. It was about oil and gas revenue to be distributed to all Yemenis, about total prisoner exchange, about opening, like free opening of Sana'a airport and Hodeidah port. Yemeni were requesting that and saying that we will have negotiation between us Yemenis, and I mean, you know, the Saudi hasn't done any of that. Does the Saudi think, or the Zionists or the United States, do they think that after we did all that and we hurt the Saudi, we will go back to this terms? No, now is about a total liberation of Yemen. We will not allow any presence of Saudi forces inside Yemen. Anyone, the Saudi-backed forces and all their military bases, they will be destroyed, and Yemen will be liberated. Because you cannot have a negotiation with Saudi Arabia where it doesn't admit it's participating of this war, and you cannot have a negotiation with those Saudi-backed forces who are happy when we target United Arab Emirates forces, and United Arab Emirates backed forces are happy when we target Saudi-backed forces. But when we target the Zionists, they were angry, and they were all speaking that they will have relation with the Zionists openly. And I mean, those people, I mean, they shouldn't be allowed to live in Yemen. I do mean the population. I mean those commanders and those people who their hand have blood of Yemeni civilians. So those Saudi Arabia now, as I mentioned before, that those attack against those backed forces is a huge blow. Because those backed forces thought if Yemeni armed forces in Sana'a will target them, that the Saudi will launch a major war. It didn't happen, actually. So now they're thinking because they saw that the Saudi are afraid to target Yemen. They're thinking, I believe that maybe tens of thousands of those mercenary, they might come back to Sana'a, because still here in Sana'a they have the so-called general pardon. Anyone with the Saudi-backed forces, even if you have fought, even if you have done anything, that he is welcome to come back to Sana'a. Like, we will forgive him. We don't want you to stay with the enemy. And if we cut the hand of Saudi in Yemen, the liberation of Yemen will be easy. And I think we are starting doing so at this point.
Mhm.
Go ahead, Chris.
I had a question, Hussein, I think is very important.
If you still have anything, don't worry. I have the time. It's up to you.
Listen,
Okay,
one
go
thing,
ahead,
I appreciate it. Thank you so much. One thing that many people don't understand is the difference between, for example, Iran's revolution and Ansarallah's revolution. For example, Iran's revolution, Velayat Faqih, it's a different history, it's a different understanding and interpretation. But when I was in Yemen, they said that our revolution is Quranic. And you see in the front of the parade, the giant Quran they have on the truck. Can you describe a little bit the differences of Yemen's revolution and how they perceive their political project versus other political projects? Like,
I mean,
Iran's
here
revolution.
in Yemen, of course, like when people rise up in Iran during the revolution, it was for the same exact reason in Yemen: corruption. The government is loyal. That government at that time, Shah, is loyal to the Zionist. Of course, our government at that time was not loyal, Ali Abdullah Saleh regime, directly or like openly with the Zionists, but of course they were loyal to the United States, and he considered the United States as the Zionist. So the revolution in two countries was because of the same reason. But because, of course, that Iran as Shi'i, they have different, like they have, this Imam Ali Khamenei. But in Yemen, we still have our leadership, who's the leader of Ansarallah. That Ansarallah as a group. But still, he's not the one who want to seek, like, to have the power. The law in Yemen stayed exactly the same, and the president Hadi, he was here in Yemen before he fled the country after the signature of that agreement, and before the Saudi, after the Saudi launched that war. But if we see, we have the same reason that people rise up in Yemen and as well in Iran. And as well in Iran, Iraq has launched a war against Iran without any reason. I mean, Iran for maybe 400 or 500 years, they haven't fired a single shot at any of their neighbors. Iraq has launched a war against Iran. And who were supporting Iraq? The Gulf country, in the Persian Gulf, and United States, and it's exactly the same. When Yemen had the revolution, is Saudi Arabia and the same country that supported Iraq against Iran. And you see the reason why. It's because we denounced the Zionist state and the United States and their criminal crimes that are done in our region and anyone else in the world. We kick out the United States from their embassy. Exactly, the Iran has done the same. They have as well changed the Zionist state embassy in Tehran, and they have changed it to Palestine embassy. So it look, it's all about Palestine. Palestine is the heart of all Muslim. Is the one that's coming under attack. And Mecca and Medina, unfortunately, is under the control of the Saudi and the Abstin coalition. So the Yemeni know from the beginning that the plan against our country is big. Even when Ansarallah were still in Saada, they were planning and studying about everything, about the region, about Yemen, about the Red Sea, about things like that. They know that the war will come because they have learned to what's happened to Iran. They have learned to what happened to any country. So that's why what's actually the some that's common between us and Iranian people. And believe me, I mean, thanks to Iran, I could say this clearly. Iran has supported Yemeni with all means. They supported us like through the media. It was the Iranian media who covered the crimes mainly in Yemen, politically, in international conference, and as well regarding the weapons. What the Iranian actually have done, I don't think that anybody will do it. Look, the United States is ally with the Saudi since the existence of the Saudi, and the Saudi are not able to make a bullet or to make a gun. United States, when they support a country, they want that country to be dependent on them. Like if I give you a fighter jet, even the engineers is not Saudi engineers, is United States engineers. And they make money as well from the spares that Saudi keep buying. It's like a business. It's not I will give you a fighter jet, I will teach you how not to use it, like how to fix it. Is all the United States. So they try, when they support someone, they try to make it always depend on them, on the smallest thing. But what Iran have done actually, when they support a country, they support a country to defend itself. Ansarallah, the Houthi haven't fired a single shot at Saudi Arabia. When the Saudi launched a war, exactly with the revolution in Iran, they haven't fired a single shot. So what the Iranians have done, they have actually given us the catalog. Like they have given us like a blueprint how to build all those drones and those weapons and those missiles. So they were kind with us to teach us that. And as well, because we have here in Yemen, we have ballistic missiles with the previous regime, according to some international media, that the 100 ballistic missile. So what Yemeni have done, they use the so-called reverse engineering. But what about drones? Some people say we didn't have drones. How come now we have Iranian drones? No, it's not Iranian drones. Those drones are made of Yemen. If you see the engine of the drone, you can take it from a small scooter. There are things that you can use them. I don't know what you call it in English. That you could use them like for in something like civilian and in something military wise, like cameras, like things like that. So Iran has teach us how to do so. And because here the Sana'a government, if they need some part of these weapons, I mean, you can, sometimes from outside. Iran is even doing so. If they need some part of the weapons that they can not manufacture inside, they buy something similar that maybe for civilian. You can take something for GPS. You can take something from the phone to put it inside the missile. You can take a camera to put it in a drone. You can take that TomTom in a car for location. You can put it inside a weapon. So these are the things actually what Yemeni have been doing, and Iran actually is the one who have teach us to do so. And there is no shame. I mean, when people always in many of my interviews, Iran is supporting you. I mean, let's say Iran is supporting us. Okay, thank you, Iran. What do you want me to do? To say no? Saudi, where are the weapons of the Saudi?
It's true.
And the tanks, Abraham, did they plant it in Saudi or in Al-Mara'i? Israel. Weapons or any support to the Zionist state of Israel, I can guarantee that the Zionist state of Israel will collapse in a matter of 2 months, because the resistant and the Hamas resistant, they will not fighting the Zionists. They will fighting the Zionists with all their power. They will fighting Italy. They were fighting France. They were fighting every country that's supporting the Zionist state of Israel with all type of weapons, with all money. They like giving them an open check. And just imagine is Hamas. And was Hamas defeated? No. They wasn't. They weren't. This show you that those Epstein coalition, they are so weak. They just need someone to stand up against them, and someone who is willing to sacrifice his life, to sacrifice even his livelihood. If you do so, you will defeat them because they're gonna be afraid of you. I mean, if any country will do so, I mean, I believe, like example in Somalia. If you see Somalia, one of the poorest country, and they have one of the richest, maybe 83,000 kilometer, and what those Western countries are using that beach, they are using it to dump dirt and to dump this what's left from nuclear power station. So that's why they don't want to have a government that will control all Somalia, because it's maybe the 1.5 the size of Yemen. So they use it to dump those poison in that country. I believe if I was, and I hope that anyone from Somalia will listen to me, you should take up arm against all those ships that's coming to your country and dump those poison in your coast. Instead of taking a small boat to go after a commercial ship to ask them for ransom, and because why they did that piracy, as the international media call it, because their livelihood was damaged because of this poison, and as well because ships, fishing boat, big huge fishing boat, they come in to their coast and like wipe out all the fish they have there. I mean, that's why some of them were recruited by those people, so they can go and like with guns and RPG and take those commercial ships. What they could do, they could seek those ships that are destroying their sea, those big boats and any ship that come in dumping poison in their coast. So I think that they should learn from Yemen. You shouldn't think that you need a battleship or aircraft carrier. Yemen is the first country in the world who have formed a blockade in the sea, and they didn't have a navy. Yemen doesn't have a navy, like, you know, a battleship or a thing like that. And we form a blockade against one of the largest naval force on the planet, against the United States of America, and they couldn't force us to lift that blockade. So Yemen was the first country to use anti-ship ballistic missile in the world, and the United States and Saudi, they are blaming that Iran is giving us anti-ship ballistic missile. Maybe Iran even doesn't have those anti-ship ballistic missiles. Because ballistic missiles, they only target area that doesn't move, like, you know, a house, a military base. But to use it against a ship, it means that you have smart people. I mean, sometimes you need a huge factory like Lockheed Martin to produce a missile. And we see now the United States, they are running out of missiles. And in Yemen, we have been firing missiles for 10 years. We didn't run out because we find way to make them cheaper and to make them more effective. But in the United States, Lockheed Martin is all about business. Just imagine a missile that costs $3 million. And with $3 million, we will make 3,000 drones. Our drones cost between $1,000 to $2,000. So I think Yemen is sending a clear message to all people around the world that you need to stand up, and they don't think that the United States is so strong. The United States will be defeated because you are right, and they might kill you. They might do like they did in Gaza. And if we will be afraid of that, like some cowards are saying, look what happened, killed Palestinian. Of course, we have lost 75,000 life of many of them women and children. But if you look to Algeria, more than 2 million people in Algeria were killed during the liberation of their country from the French. If they didn't lose those 2 million, just imagine in the last, I think it took independence maybe 60 years. I mean, I can't remember. If they didn't sacrifice with these 2 millions, and the French were still in Algeria till now, I believe there will be tens of millions that has been killed. So United States does not only respect, they only respect if you are strong. There is a saying in the United States, if you want peace, your weapons. So, but when they come to us, they want, and they attack us, they want us to meet them with flowers. I mean, this is so silly. And I just one last thing about Trump. It was funny when Trump launched attack against Yemen. He said in a tweet, he said that we will continue attacking the Houthis until they stop, and I'm quoting him, until they stop attacking our ship and attacking our allies' ship. What he mean with allies' ship? He mean the Zionist ships. But when there was an agreement mediated by Oman, and he didn't even need to go to Oman, because they went to Oman and requested them, look, we will stop attacking the Houthi if they will stop attacking us. Here in Yemen, when they were attacking the United States ship, they were attacking United States ship only because United States target Yemen. And our leadership have said, if the United States will stop attacking Yemen, we will stop. So it doesn't even need to mediate. Came and he was bragging, we defeated the Houthi. We showed them, I don't know that, and we were so strong. And he said the Houthi now has promised that they will not target our ship. He didn't mention the Zionist ship. So and people can search for that. This means he sacrificed, like at that point, with the Zionist ship. And Yemeni continue to do so against the Zionists and targeting their ship. And I believe a revolution in the region, it will start from Yemen, because if the Saudi are defeated, they are the Saudi royal family. I'm speaking of Saudi royal family. They are the cancer inside the Muslim Ummah, inside the humanity. I mean, and as well, United Arab Emirates, those countries have done many crimes, not only in Yemen. Look what happened in Sudan. Those slaughter, and those United Arab Emirates backed forces, what happened in Libya. And there is one thing as well about the United States. They are never ever to be trusted in any agreement. We remember what happened to Libya. When they left sanction against Libya, Muammar al-Gaddafi has done one of his biggest mistakes. He has taken all his large missiles and all the weapons that he had, he could defeat the United States, he has handed them to the United States. What they did after that, they bombed him. Iraq, they gathered 150,000 military in Kuwait. Before they attack Iraq, they sent the United Nations. Those stupid United Nations, they sent them to Iraq, and they were destroying every last missiles. And the Iraqi and they work all together, the United Nations and the United States. So United States is getting ready. They send the United Nations to destroy all the weapons that you have, and as well they send in mediator telling Saddam Hussein country, they give hope till you still like hope you. Corridor, or if you try to catch it between two walls, it will fight you. If you do the same thing with the cat, it will do so. So the United Nations is being used by the United States.
Oh
no. I have one question left, and that's it. You look tired, though, Chris.
I think he'll be back. I think he'll be back.
I think so, too.
Yes.
And yeah, and just last thing, why I spoke about this, that you didn't trust the United States. Yeah, why I mentioned this, you didn't trust like any agreement with Saudi, and if they say hand your weapons, how can we trust it? We know what happened in Sabra and Shatila in Lebanon. They asked the fighter to leave those camp. What happened? The Zion has gone into and killed all the women and children. In Srebrenica, in Bosnia. What happened? The United Nations was there. The Dutch troops were there, and they asked anyone who can carry up weapons, he should leave. They hand their weapons. They just as soon as they come out in an area, they killed them all, and they entered that camp and killed everybody, killed thousands of people. This is the United Nations who have let that happen. The United Nations who have let that in Sabra and Shatila happen. So United Nations actually is a tool. In some way, is a tool for this Abistine coalition. And in Yemen, they know that. That's why I think we have come.
There we go. Okay.
Okay.
One more.
I talk
Go ahead.
so much, maybe. Sorry.
Okay, it's okay.
No
But
problem.
one question from the audience, and I want to know the answer anyway. When we were in Iran, we noticed that only the Yemenis are allowed to carry around their daggers. Obviously, everybody, you have yours on now. Tell us about the story behind this dagger, what the significance is, and what it means to you, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, why only Yemeni are allowed? Because they are trustworthy. They know that they're not gonna use it. This dagger is like a traditional clothes here, clothes in Yemen, and as well it is in Oman. But in Oman, instead of having it, I mean, I will show you like that. It's okay. In Oman, if sometimes to the side a little bit. So it's something not only in Yemen, but in Yemen like is more than it's only in Oman, but not like in Yemen. And it's something that like we feel proud of. I mean, even me when I go on TV, I'm proud of having that dagger. But look, like I'm not allowed to take this. This is like as a traditional cloth, you are not allowed to take it. I mean, if you fight with someone and then you take it and you stab it, it's something shameful. So it's just something like a decoration.
Oh, lost him again.
Yeah, there we go. He's back.
Yeah, the internet here.
Okay, we're almost done.
Sometimes in Yemen is a bit slow, especially. Yeah.
No worries. Listen,
if you still have.
We love the Jambia. I was honored to be gifted a Jambia when I was in Yemen, so I love it. It's a great, a great treasure for me. I want to thank you, Hussain Al-Bukhaiti, for coming here. It was a real pleasure. Everyone learned a lot from you. Thank you for your generosity and your time. And inshallah, we look forward to seeing you soon in Yemen again. Inshallah.
Soon, Yemen.
Inshallah, the port will and the airport will be open soon, and hopefully we'll see you both in Yemen. You are more than welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And thank you for everything.
Thank you for being so generous with your time.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Shukran jazilan.
No worries. I'm really honored to Shukran jazilan. I'm honored to be to come into your show, but could give us like a window to make it the thing understandable to the people.
Absolutely, and I think the people really appreciate.
I think it's our sign to
people
go.
Appreciate you.
Thank you, guys. We will see you on Tuesday. Thank you for your super chats and all of your love and support.
Thank you to everyone.
Thank you to everyone. And I love this comment. I've lived in Dearborn. I knew a lot of Yemeni people from the area. They are the most honorable, kindness, and most generous people. As a Palestinian, all my love and respect to Yemen. Allah protect them and give them victory. And you guys, we will see you again on Tuesday, inshallah, God willing. And Chris, get some sleep. You're looking sleepy.
Yeah,
Enjoy the
lot of
outro,
work.
guys. We'll see you in 2 days.